Victor Adetiba with ScrumLife.com, back with our book club. This episode is sponsored by Manta Tech Training Academy. Link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today we're reading another excerpt from the book, 97 Things Every Scrum Practitioner Should Know, Collective Wisdom from the Experts, edited by Gunther Verheyen. Page 10. Start with the why of your Scrum. Peter Goetz and Yui Shermer. Is this correct according to Scrum? Is a question that we get asked frequently. It usually follows a description of a concrete team practice, and the person asking wants to know if they are applying Scrum correctly, i.e., according to the Scrum Guide. Although the question is valid, we try to understand why it's being asked. Teams and organizations often focus on the mechanics of Scrum and forget about their real purpose, which is usually to generate and increase value for their customers, their stakeholders, and themselves. Don't get us wrong. The Scrum Guide is important to us. It describes the core elements for solving complex, adaptive problems and how they play together. We take it seriously as it helps us focus on solving our problems collaboratively and creatively, something that goes beyond just reading and applying the Scrum Guide. There is one reason for Scrum to exist: delivering a potentially releasable increment of done product at the end of each sprint. ScrumGuides.org. All the elements in Scrum support this. The roles divide and share accountability for the people involved in the work. The artifacts create the minimum transparency needed to iteratively and incrementally deliver a releasable increment. And the events are opportunities to inspect and adapt according to the information collected in the artifacts and create a rhythm of feedback in various areas of interest. This rhythm improves the Scrum team's flow of work. The Scrum values describe a shared mindset that is extremely helpful when continuously reviewing and improving our way of working together. You can follow the rules as described in the Scrum Guide mechanically. You can appoint a product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. Install a sprint and invite the team and sometimes the stakeholders to the event. Set up a tool for product backlog and sprint backlog management and tell the Scrum team to get started. If the why behind Scrum isn't understood and lived, no real improvements will occur. The Scrum team might even become annoyed by this new game as they don't see the point behind the rules. Worst case, they get burned out by the stress that those new elements create compared to their old way of working. We therefore suggest a different approach. We encourage organizations to first talk about their challenges and where their current strategy to solve them isn't helpful or needs to be improved. We can then think about ways to overcome those limitations and explore how Scrum might help. Only then does it make sense to start introducing Scrum. 2 questions should be the North Star in the ongoing journey. 1, are we able to deliver a valuable and releasable product increment each sprint? 2, how can we improve our way of working together? These questions shift the focus away from the mere mechanics of Scrum. We learn how to use them against clearer goals and problems. We will improve our skills and tools continuously to progress towards those goals. This will increase our motivation and lead to more happiness and a more humane workplace. And most notably, we will still be working according to the Scrum Guide. Not because the Scrum Guide says so, but because it makes sense. My experience on a Scrum team very early on, before I understood the framework and kind of what the expectations were similar to what was described in this excerpt. An organization had made the decision to convert its teams over to Scrum teams. It made that decision without informing everyone on the team. they selected only certain members of the team to attend the training and workshops. And so when the rest of the team found out that we were going to be having this 15-minute meeting every morning, we were going to be using this new tool to track and monitor our work. We're going to have a meeting at the beginning of every couple of weeks to talk about what we were going to commit to. And at the end of every 2 weeks, we were going to talk about what went well and what didn't go well. It was very confusing in the beginning, not understanding that this was a new framework that we were operating under. And it actually made many members of the team feel alienated. And so one of the suggestions that I would have for any team or any organization that is implementing Scrum and going through this type of similar transformation would be make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure everybody gets the same communication and the same training, especially if they're expected to participate as a contributing member on a Scrum team. And even bigger than that, if stakeholders and people who were external to the immediate Scrum team were able to go through the same training, it would give them a better understanding of why all of a sudden requests that they would submit previously that could be completed in a day or two now have to be submitted in advance and prioritized by someone and may or may not get completed depending on the team's focus for that sprint or priorities, if you will. Two things stand out from this article. Leadership should have that conversation and make the decision about the why for the Scrum team and for the transformation. Why is this important for the organization to do? Why is this important for us to do with this team? Why is the product, why is the work that this team is doing important to the organization? And two, once that is done, it will help the why to not just be a part of the team or senior leadership's objectives, but this why should become a part of the culture within the organization and should be clearly communicated to everyone in the organization. Just my 2 cents. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and tell us what you thought about today's episode. Looking forward to seeing you in our next episode. Peace.